again, hanging out outside the trade show doors. Nice little setup here. We're going to spend some time with Midway University head coach Luther Bramblett. Lou, thanks for jumping on with us.
Thanks for having me, Sheets.
See, this is such a continuation of our weekly, almost daily phone calls. Luther being one of my best friends in baseball, one of my mentors, guy I talk to regularly. And I told him, man, it's time for your podcast debut. We got to have you on.
It's a good place to have it, right here.
Not a bad setup. I wish we had more lights.
Yeah, the lights are good.
If we could take the lights up a little bit. Yeah, this is awesome. But more than that, I think you're an easy choice, and I think it makes a ton of sense based on our conversations. And we've both, I think, seen each other grow in a lot of different regards. Let's hold that off for right now. Let's go to this. How many conventions for you?
This is my 24th out of the last 25 years. I missed one.
How'd you miss?
I was not coaching at that time.
Gotcha.
But I did renew my membership that year.
So I love it.
I took care of that.
So taking in that many conventions, can you go back to your very first one, maybe how overwhelming is a word that gets thrown around?
I think the first one, I was a GA at Freed-Hardeman University.
Yep.
And I think it was 94.
Okay.
I think.
It's 13, but go ahead.
And it was in Nashville.
Okay.
And it's a great place to get lost.
Yes, it is.
And we load up in a van and had coolers of food and PB&J and lunch meat, and it was quite the experience. It really was. It was for a 20-something-year-old guy wanting to do this. It was definitely mind-blowing. It was crazy.
The speakers that year, you remember anyone?
No, I'm too old
to go back.
No, I have no idea. Can't remember what I did yesterday, Sheets.
Okay, all right. Well, then when you think about 20-some years of coming to these, when you get to a place where you've heard a lot of the talks. Now we're trying to introduce some new clinics this year. We're talking technology for the very first time on the main stage. We're talking recruiting for one of the very first times on the main stage. You can go down the list. What are maybe some of the goals that you have coming into this convention? Maybe a takeaway you hope to gain a little bit more on to bring back to your program for this year? Is there anything you can point to?
Any time, it doesn't matter. Across the spectrum, if I can pick up one thing or a different way to say something, different terminology that I can take back and explain the things that I've been doing forever a different way, that's going to be a plus. So I try to go to every single speaker on the main stage because they've obviously done what I do, and so I want to try to take something, learn something. So there's nothing in particular that I've set out to do this year in that regard. I just enjoy going all the time.
Sure.
And I enjoy learning something from every single one of them, whether it be culture or practice, design, or offense, pitching. It really doesn't matter. I always look to take something back and reaffirm what I feel is the right way to do things.
Right.
So,
the question that I've asked the first two guys, and I think it's a neat question to roll to, is something that you've learned recently. And I think, because I know you're in that spirit, our conversations are at times around thinking a little bit differently. I try to challenge you. You challenge me. Is there something that you heard, listened to, conversation with another coach that maybe challenged you a little bit to your core as, you know what, I could do that differently, or I could say that differently. I could be better in that area. Is there something you'd point to?
Well, it's funny. I was working camp at University of Kentucky this past weekend, talking with Coach Quill, and breaking down hitting.
Yeah.
I'm in a little dilemma of do I continue to do the same things I've always done, or there's so much information that's out there, that's available. That's what's so great about your podcast stuff. The guys that you get on there always challenges what I feel and what my players feel, and how do I need to come across better to them and teach them better and make them better, more successful.
That's it.
So the offensive stuff, you know, and then me and you have had a technology conversation.
It still makes me uncomfortable.
And I need to be challenged, and that's where we are today.
Yeah.
So I've got to do a better job of prepare myself for that side of communication with our players and find a way to reach them better.
Yeah.
And, maybe it is through technology. So always, there's always stuff, man.
No doubt.
If you're a lifelong learner, you're always going to be, stuff's going to smack you sometimes.
That's it.
It makes you question why you do it and how you do it, and am I doing it the right way? So
it's so funny. You were 3 for 3 so far with a coach referencing the challenge that they feel technology's brought to how they coach. And I don't think you're alone in that. I think you could pick anybody out in this crowd and say, what's an area in coaching that you're really challenged by right now? And it's the technology aspect of it, the analytical aspect.
No question. And I'm not that smart. I still, my kids, I got a 5-year-old that runs the phone and iPad better than I do.
No doubt.
So I used to be that kid.
Yeah.
But now that I've grown old, I got stuck in my ways. I've definitely got to get better at that. No question.
I'm putting you on the spot here. Do you think this is like a pivot point for you in your coaching career? Do you see it as – that may be too large scale. I'm just putting that words in your mouth. But do you think this might be a nice little shift, like a hard V towards another realm of you as a coach?
There's no question. If I want to keep up with guys that are doing it better than me and are comfortable with that, and I'm a competitive guy.
Yep.
I don't like losing. So, there's no question. And that's the big thing that us old timers, I guess, guys that have been in it 25 years plus. 25 years is a long time. So this technology thing is obviously a game changer.
No doubt. Okay. Here's a question. I think it's a neat one to ask. When you think about going to Nashville next year in 2020, there's somebody listening to this podcast right now. I'm talking to you. I know you're listening. That is going, what is this whole convention thing all about? What's this experience? What's it mean to be part of this fraternity, this brotherhood? Why should they come to Nashville? If they're sitting at home right now, Lou, speak right to them and get them to come to Nashville with us.
It's a can't-miss event if you're a baseball guy.
Mm-hmm.
The connections that you make, the relationships that you continue to build. When you say fraternity, I mean, I've talked to I've run into and talked to 15, 20 guys already that I've met here.
Yes.
And over the years have developed relationships with, and at the end of the day, that's why we coach. That's what coaching's all about. And if you want to continue to develop yourself as a baseball person, this is can't miss, because you're going to develop lifelong friendships and relationships with guys that if you didn't come to something like this, that you're missing out.
No doubt.
You're missing out on that opportunity. And then obviously the growth side of it and challenging yourself as a coach, as a man, as a husband, all those father, all those type of things.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the ABCA and that's what you've done. Since your arrival 4 years ago, you have challenged all of us in ways that we haven't been, and you have a lot to be thankful for in that regard. We are thankful for you in that regard.
I've been extremely grateful for the opportunity, and like I tell you all the time, I'm with each episode, each conversation, I'm trying to challenge myself, because there's just a lot of growth to be made. I think it's meeting guys that are podcast listeners is awesome, and hey man, you've helped and you've challenged me, and it's like, dude, the dude on the other end of the line's challenged me, because I'm right there with you. I try to stay in that framework and roll from there. In terms of guys that are here, who are some names that you're looking forward to connecting with and running into? Who are some guys you still haven't seen yet?
Well, I hadn't run into Chuck Box yet. He's already called me 2 or 3 times. He's en route. I'm really excited to listen to him on the stage on Sunday, and ran into Butch already and talked with him, and he's fired up.
Yes.
Ran into Jake McKinley and congratulated him on his big jump forward, and looking forward to hearing him speak as well. I'm just fired up to be here, dude.
No doubt.
I mean, put together a great schedule of speakers, and at first I was but the more I've researched and listened and looked, I'm fired up about this year.
It's awesome.
Really.
It's awesome.
So,
well, usually our conversations last 30 to an hour and a half. This is a quick 10-minute burst. But thanks for jumping on with us, Luther. Best
thanks
of luck
for having me, dude.
No doubt. Best of luck to the Eagles.
Appreciate it, man.